engage them in a classroom and also outside the classroom. Now we are going to see that how many ways we have development of a microlearning. Let's have a look.
So micro-e-learning doesn't mean the creation of e-learning that is shorter than it should be. It is certainly about time length, but also about after-course performance. With busy work days, commuting, being mobile, and just-in-time knowledge needs, it isn't any wonder why micro-e-learning, which can often be called micro-learning, short courses, chunk learning, bursts, bites, and even e-learning snacks, have been becoming so popular. There's no definitive time requirements for micro-e-learning, but they're often between 1 and 5 minutes long, and don't be surprised if 10 to 15 minutes works best for you and, of course, your audience. The key is that they feel short and manageable to the learner. Because of the short seat times, micro-e-learning tends to be very focused on what information reaches the performance goals and what doesn't. It means we want a presentation method that rapidly presents information, encourages understanding, is less overwhelming without information overload, and raises retention, which all leads to meeting those performance goals. And keep in mind that it's not always feasible to meet the objectives of a course or curriculum with micro-e-learning. Do your best, be creative, and don't forget to make sure your LMS supports your micro-e-learning approaches regarding navigation, scoring, and tracking. So how do we create micro-e-learning? Here's where our instructional and creative design skills really come in handy. The intention isn't just to cut out material that might be the best option. We differently about what the end result might be. Every project is different, and so it is up to you to gauge what's in, what's out, and what might be a different approach altogether to connect the information to the learner, empower, and instead, here hand It's common to start off projects with introduction slides, overviews, history, and definitions. Consider skipping all these and just throw the learner right into an important situation or scenario. Get them using their brains right away in common situations and provide feedback or additional knowledge when they need it and not if they don't. Phrasing. Don't start without the parts. Can be a lot more memorable and quick to learn then. We recommend that you do not start assembly until you make sure you have all the parts available. Tweak your sentences, reduce, create phrases, even memorable slogans. Be creative. Focus on the learning gap. It's common to see a process equal time to each step. If we have 5 steps at 2 minutes each, we have a 10-minute project. But if all the steps are extremely straightforward, aside from, let's say, step 4, perhaps each step needs 30 seconds, with step 4 ending up at a longer 3-minute explanation. Now we end up with a 5-minute course instead of a 10-minute course, and a course much more focused on the learning gaps. Stoplight editing, a trick for finding what information is relevant. Read through all your material and mark it green if it seems absolutely necessary to know, or a building block for additional information. Yellow if it might not be needed, you're not sure, and red if it's not absolutely important. Delete the red, then iterate. After a few times, you'll significantly reduce your material. You can keep editing it, changing it around, and then keep going through it again and again using the stoplight trick. Present it differently. Don't get stuck presenting the same way you always have been. Be creative about it. Consider animating out the story or make it a game, or both. Use audio and simple imagery to connect more memorable images to simple audio bites. Create unique requirements that might limit the time and focus, and just get creative. See what you can come up with. Throw a bunch of ideas at the wall and see what sticks. Set your own seat time goal. If you decide your project is going to be 5 minutes in length, maybe a decision you've made, or you recognize this through other data you have or surveys, whatever it might be, stick to it. Stick to that 5 minutes. You will find all kinds of creative ways and engage your audience in new ways. Split it up. Finally, consider splitting your course up into individual learning points. Consider that a 10-hour-long movie may run a little long, but 10 one-hour-long episodes in a mini-series is perfect. While we're not necessarily reducing material, the smaller chunks, smaller bites, can make learning much more manageable and focused. So have fun reinventing your short.
So this is a way some you can say see the ways to make our content more present your information in a bite size. Actually, the focus of the micro learning. It's more engaging. You can see that with the different kind of like videos, gifs, kind of graphics, you can use them and present your information in a very quick way.
Yep.
Let's have a one example here, that if you want to record your video and how you will be able to script a micro learning video. For example, you are much familiar with the videos, you record the videos, you're already delivering online lectures and all these things, but let's have a look what is actually the difference if I'm going to make a one video which is related to the micro learning environment, and I want to present the actual product, actual what is the information about the content and about my subject. So what would be the steps? Let's have a look and we will see different steps in very short time we can conduct it.
Once you've completed your micro video, it's time to start scripting. Here are a few practices to keep in mind. One video, one objective. Everything in your script should tie back to your main objective, especially with a very short video. Tell a story. Creating a narrative and developing characters will help you connect with your audience and frame your video. Keep traditional story structure in mind. Your video should have a clear beginning, middle, and end, and each section should relate back to your main objective. Keep it simple. Your sentences should be short and sweet. Avoid unnecessary adjectives and adverbs, and use the active tense. Not everything needs to be spoken. Think of your script as a support system for the visuals in your video. The language you choose should complement rather than compete with these images. Don't waste time. You don't need lengthy introductions or conclusions. Get to the point. The beauty of a micro-learning video is that viewers can rewind a specific section or rewatch the whole video if and when they need a refresh. Read more to learn about scripting.
So this is a so easy way to make your content more accurate and more focused. Now let's talk about some of the application. Now it's come into your mind which applications are used in a classroom or for the outside of the classroom to creating a such kind of content. So let's have a look. We have a different apps which we can use to create a micro learning content, and we can use in a classroom as well.
Have you ever heard of microlearning? Microlearning is a new way of teaching that helps to keep kids' attention. Today I'll tell you about how it works and which apps you can use for microlearning. Give it a big thumbs up if you like this topic. In microlearning, instead of giving long courses, you break down the material into short, bite-sized and well-planned units. Typically, students consume these short units via digital media. Here's a nice microlearning app for expanding your vocabulary. Word of the day. It's very simple. Word of the day teaches you one word a day. That's really micro. The new words you learn aren't just words everybody can understand. Think about ablution, demagogue, and vociferous. At the end of each trimester, you can let your students write a short essay using 5 new words, or you can start the lesson by asking 3 of your students what new word they have learned, and let them explain it to the others. Another microlearning app worth mentioning is Duolingo. If you're a language teacher, this app is heaven. Duolingo is made for teaching foreign languages and was awarded the App of the Year in 2013. Students can learn 21 different languages. You start by adding a daily learning goal from 5 up to 20 minutes a day. You can also indicate Duolingo teaches words and their translation, and is very intuitive. I'm also a big fan of InstaNerd. InstaNerd is a website where you can find fun facts and how-tos in a simple way. They are really interesting. You can even share those fun facts on social media. I know that understanding fun facts isn't part of the curriculum, but I'm sure your students will learn from it and have something to talk about. As a speaking exercise, you can let your students explain 5 fun facts that they really found interesting. Students will learn better when they can relate to the topic and when it arouses their interests. There are also educational apps that can be used for microlearning, at least if you use your imagination. These apps are probably more familiar than the previous microlearning apps. Some of you might already know how they work, but didn't know they could be used for microlearning. Think about Explain Everything. Make short 5-minute lessons with Explain Everything. Explain Everything helps to take presentations to a whole new level. There's nothing wrong with PowerPoint, but presenting a subject can be more interactive and way cooler. Explain is an This means you can make a presentation and record everything instruction videos and send it to your students. Ideal for microlearning. Book widgets can also be used for microlearning. The web quest, for example, is just perfect. Notice the different steps in the video behind me. These are several microlearning lessons. The entire web quest represents a chapter. Let your students discover each step. Make your microlearning lesson interactive by adding short YouTube videos and other game widgets. Changing up the learning formats keeps their attention. You can also use a hotspot image widget for fun micro lessons.
So these 5 images, these 5 different applications are basically giving you a core idea to create your content more attractive, interactive, and versatile way. The purpose of today's session is also a micro variation. Today, my purpose is to present actual environment, what actually the meaning of the micro learning and how we can use it, how we can apply, how many types we have, how many applications we can use to make our content more interactive. Now I want you to suggest me that what you grab by this training session and how you will implement in your education. This is only beneficial for you if you are going to implement it, explore more about it, and if you are not going to do this, this is not useful for you. Now please, I'm going to open the chat is open for you all, and discuss with me which point you feel that is a more valuable for your content, your subject. If you want to present some, you will be going to apply these steps or not. You can type in a chat box. If you want to ask something, you can ask me. What do you think this micro learning concept is a good for us as educator? Thank you. Actually, I want to know about your perception about after this training session. What do you think about micro learning? And which part of this micro learning you think it's related to your content, or it's related to your subject, you are going to implement it now or later? Sure, the recording would be shared with you all. And one more thing I want to explain here, I just talk about the different infographics, graphic, image editing, video editing, interactive videos. If you are joining us newly, so I want to tell you that we have all the previous sessions and we have all the recordings available, and we just presented a wonderful sessions on different topics like infographics, how you would be able to complete deep information, how you would be able to create the infographics or interactive videos. These all content are already available with us. Okay, I will share the content, the previous recording session, and this recording also will be added in that playlist, and you will be able to revise it, or if you want to share with others, you can do it. Let me share the link of all recordings.